What's good, guys? It's Monday, January 7th, and I went home for my buddy's wedding, and it feels like there's a lot of people that either don't believe me or just think it's completely impossible to save 65% of what you make. It's not. And it just comes down to understanding your priorities and what's important to you. If you actually went through and audited your yearly expenses and you looked at how much you spent on clothes or going out or excuse me, just bullshit that you don't need, and you added that up, and that was $3,500, like a small amount, we'll say. And if at the end of the year you asked yourself the question, could I have spent that $3,500 throughout the year on 5 different gadgets, or going out to eat every couple weeks or every week or whatever it is that comes out to be $3,500 for the year? Is that the most effective way to spend your time and your money that's going to bring you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life? And that's just the question I ask all the time. Like, is doing this going to, ask yourself, there's an opportunity cost with everything you do or don't do. So every time you're making those decisions, you're giving up something. If you decide to stay home, you're giving up something. If you decide to go do something else, you're giving up something else. If you decide to be in a relationship, you're giving up something else. If you decide to spend money on something, you're giving up something else. And when I ask myself that question, a lot of the times it leads me to make a decision that's more in line with the things that I value. And when I come down to it, it allows me to save a fuckload of money. The amount of what do I want to say? The sense of, it doesn't matter in terms of if shit happens, if I lose a job or whatever the case is, because I'm in a spot where I don't fucking have to worry about that. And it didn't happen overnight. And I'm not saying that to say how great I am at saving or anything. It's just understanding what's important to you, understanding how you want to live your life. And I've always saved I started out probably saving 5 or 10%. And then it would go down to 0, and then I'd save, more, and then back and forth, and then I would be doing 25%, and then I'd go back and forth, and then I move every couple years to a different state, but also I move within the state, every year pretty much. So there's always some type of cost associated with it, and as I kept doing that over and over and over again, I love it. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change that by any token of the imagination. It wouldn't even come across my mind. But then you realize what's important. All the shit that I've collected, is it really that valuable to me? All the old garbage in terms of clothes or belongings or just anything in general, I'm is that really worthwhile? And it's minimalist from the standpoint that relative to the rest of the population, but when you actually consider it, it's I don't fucking need that shit. And it just makes it way nicer to not have those belongings. Think about this, right? If you were about to, say, you had this crazy opportunity to, say, move to Hawaii, right? But what would be the first thing that comes across your mind? You're like, oh fuck, I have all my shit, right? I've got an entire house. I've got you might have a wife and kids. That's just what it is. But the more shit you have, if you've got a 2,500 or 3,500 square foot house that's full of shit that you don't fucking use, like, just consider how the thought process you might go through if an opportunity to like that did come up. Like if an opportunity came up that allowed you to move to like wherever it is that you wanted to move to and live, or have the job that you would love to have in the city that you would love to work in, but then you realize like, shit, I have a 3,500 square foot house that's full of fucking dick that is going to be a huge pain in the butt to move. Like, do I really want to go through that? Like, and it's tying you down. Like, look at it like that, and you realize how much the shit around you influences the way you make decisions. Because then you're like, fuck, my whole entire house I gotta move. Man, that's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. You know, shit might break. All this other shit. Boom, 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 boom. And before you know it, you just gave up that opportunity to go work at that job that you wanted, or go live in that city that you wanted to live in. And when you see that once or twice, like, you're like, fuck this shit. I'm not, like, I would rather just have less shit. It doesn't bring me the amount of value that would living the life I want to live. Anyways, if this is the first time you were here, make sure you press that subscribe button and that bell notification. I hope you guys create an awesome week, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.